Your thumb hovers over the keyboard. 3 gray words appear in the suggestion bar above it, waiting. You glance at them, close enough, and tap. The sentence finishes itself. You hit send. The whole thing takes maybe 2 seconds, and you have done this thousands of times without counting. Here is what you probably have not done. Opened one of those messages a week later and tried to remember if you actually chose those words, or if you just accepted what was offered. The difference used to matter. You used to type the way you spoke, with the little detours and overcorrections that made a text sound like you. Now you tap the middle suggestion, or the right one, whichever's closest to what you half meant, and the algorithm closes the gap. It has been watching you long enough now that it knows what you would say before you finish thinking it. That should feel efficient. Helpful even. But somewhere in the last few years, your messages started sounding like everyone else's. Same phrasing, same rhythm, same auto-completed sentiment delivered in the same predicted shape. You have not been replaced by a piece of software. You have been cooperating with it, one tap at a time, teaching it to imitate you while you learn to write the way it expects. And now, when you try to remember the last time you typed a full sentence with your own 2 hands, no suggestions, no corrections, just the exact words you meant in the exact order you meant them, you are not sure you can. I did not notice it happening to me. That is the first thing I need to say, because I think that is the whole problem. It was not a moment. It was weather. I was texting someone I had known for years. We had the kind of shorthand that develops when you have sent each other 10,000 messages, inside references, half-finished thoughts, things that only made sense to us. I knew how she texted. I knew when she was annoyed because she dropped punctuation. And I knew when she was excited because she used real question marks instead of just letting her voice rise at the end. And then one day I was reading something she sent, and I could not tell if it was her anymore. The words were fine. The sentiment was right. But it was smoothed out, flat. It sounded like a sentence written by someone trying to sound like her. Someone who had studied her, but did not have the rhythm quite right. I went back through our thread. A year ago, 2 years ago, 5 years ago. The older the messages, the more I could hear her voice. The recent ones, I could have been talking to anyone. Then I looked at mine. Here is what I found. 2 years ago I wrote, "Stuck in the worst meeting of my life. Guy next to me just said circle back for the 9th time. I'm losing my mind." Last month I wrote, "In a meeting. Not great. Talk later?" Same situation. Different person writing it. The second version is not wrong. It conveys the information. It is faster to type. But it is also the sentence the algorithm knew I would write before I wrote it. And I accepted that. And now I do not write sentences like the first one anymore. I tap the suggestion bar. I let the phone finish my complaints, my check-ins, my good mornings. And every time I do, I am voting for a version of myself that is a little more predictable, a little easier to compress, a little closer to the statistical average of everyone else who has ever been stuck in a meeting and wanted to say so quickly. Predictive text is trained on everything you have ever typed. It learns your common phrases, your typos, the names of people you text most often. It gets better at guessing the more you use it. That part everyone knows. What I did not think about is that it also trains me. Every time I tap a suggestion, I am reinforcing a pattern. The algorithm offered a phrase. Talk later. Sounds good. On my way. And I accepted it, which teaches the algorithm that this is what I say in this situation, which makes it more likely to offer that phrase again next time, which makes me more likely to accept it again, because I have already used it, and it worked fine. The loop tightens. My language becomes more predictable, which makes the predictions more accurate, which makes me more likely to use them, which makes my language more predictable. I am not being automated. I am automating myself. And it is not just me. This is happening to everyone who uses this thing, which is essentially everyone. We are all tapping the same suggestions, drawn from the same training data, converging toward the same set of common phrases. We are sanding off the edges of our language in real time, choosing efficiency over specificity. And the cost is that we are all starting to sound the same. I tested this. I asked 3 friends to send me a message canceling plans. I did not tell them why. All 3 of them sent some variation of, "Hey, sorry, something came up. Rain check?" None of them typed it out. I watched the gray dots appear, and I knew they were tapping the bar. 15 years ago, one of them would have said, "Got slammed at work." Another would have said, "Family thing, I'll explain later." And the third would have just said, "Can't make it," with no punctuation, because he never used punctuation, and that was part of how you knew it was him. Now they all say, "Something came up," because that is what the phone suggests. And the phone suggests it because it is the most common way people cancel plans. And it is the most common way because everyone accepts the suggestion. We have outsourced not just the typing, but the phrasing. And phrasing is not a small thing. Phrasing is where personality lives. It is the difference between "I'm running late" and "Train's a disaster, be there soon." Between "Thank you so much" and "You're the best." Those differences used to mean something. They were how you knew who you were talking to before you even saw the name. Now you do not know. I went back further. I found messages I sent 10 years ago, before predictive text got good. Back when it would only guess the next word, and it was usually wrong. The sentences are longer, messier. I used more commas, more semicolons, more M-dashes. I used to love an M-dash. I would derail a whole sentence just to cram in a side thought. And I do not do that anymore. It is too slow. The phone does not predict punctuation well. So I stopped using it. I simplified. I standardized. I made myself easier to predict. And now I am easier to predict. And I am not sure I remember how to write the other way anymore. When I try, it feels effortful, wrong even, like I am trying too hard. That is the turn, I think. The moment it stops being a tool that adapts to you and becomes a mold you adapt to. You are not just letting it finish your sentences. You are learning to write the sentences it knows how to finish. And the thing is, I still use it. I am still tapping the bar. I know what it is doing, and I am doing it anyway, because it is faster, and I have 80 messages to answer. And I do not have time to type out every thought with all the detours and corrections that used to make it sound like me. So I take the shortcut. I accept the suggestion. I send the text. I am collaborating in my own flattening. There is a word for what I am becoming. The word is predictable. And predictable used to mean boring or uncreative or stuck in a rut. Now it just means efficient, optimized, compatible with the algorithm. I do not think the algorithm is trying to erase me. I do not think there is a plan. But I do think there is a consequence. And the consequence is this. The more I let it finish my sentences, the more I become the kind of person whose sentences it can finish. I am not losing a fight with the machine. I am becoming the version of myself that is easiest for the machine to predict. And every time I tap that gray bar, I am choosing that version over the one who would have written the sentence differently. I do not know if I can go back. I tried for a day to stop using the suggestion bar. Just type every word myself. It was excruciating. My thumbs were slower. I made typos. I kept reaching for the gray bar out of habit, catching myself, pulling back. And the sentences I wrote felt strange, too long, too winding, too much like I was performing some idea of what sounding like myself used to mean. Maybe that version is gone. Maybe I tapped it away, one convenient phrase at a time. And now all that is left is this. Someone who writes the way a phone expects, because it is easier and faster and close enough. I still do not know whose sentence I am writing when I tap that bar. Mine, or the one the algorithm wanted me to write all along. I do not know if there is a difference anymore. But I know this. Every time I tap it, I am teaching the phone what I would say. And every time I teach it, I am learning what I am supposed to say. And somewhere in that loop, the thing I thought made me sound like me got smoothed out, optimized away, replaced with something common enough to predict. I am still here. I am still typing. But I am not sure the person writing these texts is the same person who started writing them 10 years ago. That person used too many commas and loved an em dash and would derail a sentence just to fit in a thought. This person taps the gray bar and hits send and moves on. Close enough.